very content there. Now, those sitting in church where everything in this world is going wrong and there's pain and there's suffering, when they say those words that they long for God's dwelling place, there's a deep, heartfelt emotion. Sadly, comfort, prosperity, and blessing makes us comfortable. It takes away our longing for the things of God. Let's continue. Psalm 84, that's verse 1 and 2. Verse 3, yea, the sparrow hath found an house, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young, even thine altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Blessed are they that dwell in thy house, they will be still praising thee. Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee, and whose heart are the ways of them. Who passing through the valley of Baca may it a well, the rain also filleth the pools. All right, let me read that again. Who passing, because I completely read that wrong. Who passing through the valley of Baca, I think that's how you would say, or Baca, make it a well. All right. The rain also filleth the pools. They go from strength to strength. Every one of them in Zion appeareth before God. O Lord God of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob. Behold, O God, our shield, and look upon the face of thine anointed. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I had rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. Now, let me read that one again. Now, there's a lot going on there. Again, my own personal devotional time, not an exegetical sermon. I could go back there and try to, okay, what is he referring to here when he refers to the valley of Baca? What does he mean by passing through it? The valley of Baca, make it a well. The rain also filleth the pool. What is he referring to here? There's a lot we could talk about there. I hate sometimes devotional studies because I can't cover everything. But in this particular case, I've got no choice. But when we get down to verse 10, we kind of pick up this theme again. For a day in thy courts, so for a day in God's dwelling place is better than 1,000, and the implication is anywhere else. One day in God's dwelling place is better than 1,000 anywhere else. And then he goes on to say this, that he would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. For the Lord God is sun and shield. The Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. O Lord of hosts, blessed is the man that trusteth in thee. All right, now I'm going to jump over to Matthew 13. And before we read the section in Matthew 13 we're going to look at, I want us to really just consider what's being said there. The psalmist is speaking as someone who is longing for the dwelling place of God far more than anything else. That he longs for that. And that one day there is better than 1,000 days anywhere else. And he'd rather be a lowly doorkeeper than to be some great position in the tents of the wicked. He desires to be with God above anything else. That's what he desires. That's what the psalmist is desiring. And I have to ask you, do you desire to be in God's dwelling place above all else? I will say, and I want to make this point clear, whenever earthly trials cave in on your life and the world is falling apart around you, in some way, it may be hard to do, but perceive that as a blessing, because it is making you uncomfortable here so that you will desire to dwell there. All right? Whenever things go wrong here, in some ways, find some comfort in it. Now, I'm not saying that makes you go, yes, bring more pain. I'm not trying to be, overly, fake and religious in that way. I'm trying to be very real here. There is some truth to it. Discomfort here. Here's the best way I can explain it. Maybe this will make some sense to someone. Maybe that it will not. All right. When I arrived at basic training for the United States Air Force when did I arrive in basic training? I think it was 1990 when I arrived at basic training at Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas. And when I got off that bus that evening, and those drill sergeants came screaming, yelling every known obscenity that they could think of, pushing, shoving, threatening, and before long, I think I was there 6 weeks. Yeah, I believe it was 6 weeks. Those 6 horrific weeks. When you were there, you begin to long for things that went before you arrived there. You took for granted little things, just the ability to walk to the refrigerator and get what you wanted to drink when you wanted to drink it. The ability to just sit down. There was just all these little things that you took for granted. You don't take them for granted when they're taken away from you. They made you long for them. It's not a perfect correlation, but when the troubles of this life come caving on you, I know you can't understand fully the glory of heaven and being in God's dwelling place, but it has to, sometimes when things go horrible in this life, sometimes it makes us long for a better life here. But hopefully for those of us who are Christians, it makes us long for the ultimate dwelling place, which is with God. Trials should make us long for the ultimate dwelling place. It should. Sometimes it just makes us want to improve our situation here. There's nothing wrong with wanting to improve our situation here, but I think that that's an important concept. All right? It's something to consider. Now, let's go to Matthew chapter 13, verses 47 to 53. I'm going to put the iPad back in the holder again. Matthew 13, 47 to 53. Now, I'm going to read this. We'll see if there's a correlation. What I am utilizing, these scriptures that I'm reading to you, comes from the historical lectionary, all right? And if you don't know how lectionaries worked in church history, lectionaries were they took scriptures, organized them together as a series of readings for church services, for private devotion. And when you look at the lectionary readings, sometimes you want to know, why did they group these together? Because they have an Old Testament reading, a psalm, and a gospel. On Sundays, a Old Testament, a psalm, an epistle reading, and a gospel reading. Sometimes you're like, why did they group these together? And that's sometimes, I love that, why they group them together. So today I want to figure out why they grouped Psalm 84 with this passage in Matthew chapter 13. Is there a reason? Do you see a connection or not? I think there's something here to consider. All right. Here we go. Verse 47. Matthew 13, 47. Again, Jesus is speaking. We've already read 44 through 46. Jesus is speaking in 13:47. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world, for angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Let me read that again. Verse 49. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angel shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Now that reveals to us the sad reality that will face many in the end. There will be a separation between what we would say the saved and the lost, the just and the wicked. And the wicked will be thrown into fire, thrown into a place where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth and eternal suffering. Now that reality, That reality, this is how I see the connection with Psalm 84. That reality should make me cry out and long for, and how lovely is the dwelling place of God. And I long for it because the only other option is eternal damnation. The fact that the option is either eternal damnation or the dwelling place of the eternal God, I long. Therefore, how lovely is your tabernacle. My soul cries out for God. One day with you would be better than 1,000 days anywhere else, because ultimately in the end, 1,000 days anywhere else would be in eternal fire. Yeah, I think I would much prefer one day in heaven. I think there is a correlation there. So let's do this. Two things. Number one, all the pain, all the problems, all the suffering in this life, let it drive you to a greater appreciation for the dwelling place of God. Let all the pain, let all the suffering, let all the death, let all the horrible things in this earth drive you to have a greater appreciation and longing for the dwelling place of God. Let the pain and suffering in this world at least give you a greater appreciation and a desire for heaven. Now, I don't mean we just abandon and say, well, I don't care about suffering here then. I'm not saying that. But it should give us a greater longing for heaven. It should make us heaven focused. We should value it, long for it, desire it. All right, I think that's important. Number two, let the reality of hell cause us to cry out for the dwelling place of God. Let the reality of hell drive us to cry out for the dwelling place of God. Now, I know hell is not a fun subject. I know hell is not something that is preached much in 2019. Many churches don't want to preach a lot about hell because they'll be like, you're one of those fire and brimstone. And that was from the 1800s and the 1700s and the 1600s. And, we're more sophisticated now. But the reality is the Bible speaks of it. It's right there. There's going to come a time where there's going to be a separation. The just from the unjust. The saved from the lost. And the lost are going to be cast into eternal damnation. That reality should make you cry out the more for the dwelling place of God. Let the trials and the pain and suffering of this world give you a greater longing and appreciation for the dwelling place of God. And let the reality of hell motivate you to cry out and to praise the dwelling place of God. To say, Lord, how lovely is your dwelling place? How lovely is your tabernacle? That is what I long for. Psalm 84, Matthew 13, 47 to 53. Psalm 84, Matthew 13, 47 to 53. We didn't read all the way to 53, but you can read the rest of that if you would like. Just thinking out loud for my devotional time today. Hopefully it will be beneficial to you. Hopefully there's something there you got from it. I hope so. I hope so. And if you have any questions or any thoughts or any additional thoughts on these passages, please email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Members of Victory Baptist Church, please feel free to discuss it in the live chat section. Let's talk about the scriptures. And if you see something else in Psalm 84, or if you see something else in Matthew 13, 47 to 53 that really jumps out at you, maybe you go in a different direction, let me know. I'd be more than happy to hear your thoughts. All right, I'll stop right there. This has been a live broadcast for the VBC 66 app. Please get the VBC 66 app. Share it with as many people as possible. And hopefully you will find it to be useful and beneficial and helpful in your spiritual life. All right, may God bless the reading and meditating of His Word today. Thank you.